Meeting called to order. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Ostrowski, since you're already standing, will you lead us to the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May 13, 2025 workshop meeting is now in session. Roll call, please.
Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah.
Mr. Shields.
Here.
Mr. Brennan.
Here.
Mr. Firestone. Here. Ms. Fryer. Mr. Junkins.
Here.
Mr. Eads. Present. Mr. Benedict. We have a quorum.
Veterans presentation, Mr. Ray Highland is not here. Eagle Scout presentation from Mike Cap.
No, they're not here either, so.
Did they contact us that they weren't coming, or?
It's scheduled probably for next week.
Mike Cap.
And Mike Cap is separate.
Mike Cap?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike.
It's okay.
I should know you by now.
Alrighty, a couple things came up last month, and I wanted to comment on them. Starting with the Turtle Creek Valley, the original contract, before we accepted this building, I brought up the fact about having to build a parking lot, and was basically said that we're not going to have to build it, and then even if we do, what's $10,000 or $15,000. So I'm glad to see we at least got the location moved, but I was concerned. I didn't know what the new agreement was. Well, I have up to the second amendment, but nothing further. So we have to provide them 75 spaces. Each space has to be at least 19 feet long, and the minimum width is 9 feet. So I wasn't sure what has been done or hasn't been done. Then Turtle Creek Valley will take care of the maintenance on the new lot, and Munhall, we're still responsible for maintenance on the existing lot. And Turtle Creek Valley is not responsible for any damage in the existing lot, but since this new lot will be actually located in Munhall, not in Homestead, can we at least get it that we're not responsible for any of the damages to them? And even better, if we could get, we're responsible for the new lot, they're responsible for the existing. The steps coming from the lower level to this upper lot, it's been a while since I've been here in the winter, but originally we're responsible for clearing this lot in the winter. That wasn't being done, and the steps weren't being cleared. I'm thinking if Turtle Creek Valley, depending on what their shifts are or when they use the lot, we're going to need to make sure that everything's clear and salted for that. Either way, however it turns out, we may want to try and get a price on repaving this existing lot as well, only because they have, it would be cheaper to have both lots paved and striped and painted at the same time, but either we might want to check the price while the equipment's here, what is it going to be, or if we have to bring everything back a year later, what's it going to cost, if it's us or even Turtle Creek Valley. Also, I believe we paid for an HVAC unit on the roof for the top floor that nobody's using right now, and I wasn't sure, is it still wrapped and sealed, or was it hooked up, and is it deteriorating, or is it something that we would be able to use if one of the other units conked out? Another item that came up were the electric recycling trucks. And it was said that we need to move the salt shed and purchase land because the electric company said that there was only one spot we could put the chargers in, and I was curious, why can't the electric company put the chargers where we originally wanted, as well as would it be cheaper for us to even pay the electric company to put it where we want, rather than to have to buy land, move a salt shed? And I didn't know if that meant we have to physically move a salt shed, or if it's just the salt contents. You folks are probably aware, but I just found out last month after our last council meeting, Channel 11 did a report on the city of Pittsburgh. They have ordered 8 electric recycling trucks, and they've been sitting at the dealership for the last year. The city has not accepted them because the trucks don't work. If we have any money put aside for electric trucks, can we get it back and put it towards the purchase of a diesel truck sometime in the future, or how long will our diesel trucks last? The article, the news blurb from Channel 11, they talked to Pittsburgh Public Works, and it basically sounded like there were multiple problems with the trucks. Another thing that was brought up was a request from Pittsburgh, City of Pittsburgh, I guess, for snow removal. And I can understand doing the first section with Cassaville and Gates Manor, Pittsburgh section. And I think it was stated that each time the truck does the route, it would take an extra hour to do the Pittsburgh section. But I know myself, sometimes the truck goes around once and that's enough. But depending on the snowstorms, it may be 4 or 5 times that they're going around, so that's adding like 4 or 5 hours. And I didn't hear anything about how much salt will be used. Are we talking like 50 pounds to do the whole thing, or are we talking about a ton, or what? Now, I think it was also mentioned that Pittsburgh was going to provide 1,750 tons of salt, I made the number maybe off, at our site, and would be picking up truckloads from there. Am I mistaken? I'm sorry.
Well, we're trying to get your answers, but there's a lot of information we're trying to get here from you.
Okay. And it was also stated that Pittsburgh would be interested in, did take care of the street sweeping on Main Street to compensate us for a time. And somebody, I didn't catch who, mentioned about, well, maybe we could get a front end loader from them as well. Okay. Which to me sounds like a good thing, but if we assume the worst case scenario that we can't get a front end loader from them, how many trucks are we filling for Pittsburgh? How long will it take to load each truck? Is the salt Pittsburgh is providing for both of us, or just for the Pittsburgh trucks? And if it is for both of us, how are we tracking what salt's being used, and where are we getting salt to salt the Pittsburgh areas?
There's been no agreement with the city of Pittsburgh on anything.
Right, but this is just coming up.
Right, but it's like, it's not gonna happen.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I can't speak for the rest of the council. That'll be addressed soon, maybe this summer, but they never even officially approached us.
Okay.
The mayor made a statement at some rally over in Greenfield about Munhall, and it all came in. David knew about it. I said, I don't know where he came from with it, the mayor of Pittsburgh, not our mayor. And it was,
Well, there've been some discussions, but we don't have a contract.
right, with no contract signed, there's no,
Yeah.
Right, well, to me, it's more the devil's in the details.
right, there's no details.
Right, okay. I do remember several years ago, somebody said we were clearing a street for the county, and we went back to get more funding because it was costing us more to maintain the clearing the street, the salt, the overtime, or the time. And the county said, well, sorry, we can't afford it anymore. So, any more money to pay you. I just don't want to get into one of these situations where we're spending more.
I agree,
Okay.
1,000%.
All right. And then finally, Westfield and the other recreation areas, it was mentioned about, you're putting aside money for the turf, which I think is great. But are we putting aside money for, I don't know what you want to call them, lamps, bulbs, the night lights, the lights, to play games at the field at night? And what's it actually going to cost? I mean, to me, these new lights, if I go down and want to get one of the LED lights, it's like 4 or 5 times what I paid for fluorescent or regular incandescent. So I didn't know what it would cost us. How much does it cost for a bulb? How many would we have to replace? How many hours are they good for? 1,000, 10,000? I don't know. And do we have a bucket truck and crew to change them?
No.
Okay. And if we have to do, I'm not sure the positions of the lights, poles, if we would have to drive a bucket truck over the turf, we'd be better off trying to do it either before we get the new turf or whatever. But, I mean, if the lights are going to last us 20 years, great. And I know you increased the cost of field rental for organizations outside of Munhall. But I made mention before, and I'll say it again, I think it was like 30 years ago, we had to go to, we were having an event here in Pittsburgh, international.
You're speaking of we who
I'm sorry, Department of Veterans Affairs.
Thank you.
National Veterans Wheelchair Games.
Okay.
University of Pittsburgh, they wanted $100 for a grass field for an hour. If you wanted restrooms, that was more money. If you wanted seatings, that was more money. Play at night, that was more money. Everything was an add-on to that price. I was thinking of, what does it actually cost us to maintain the field? What would it cost us to put the lights on at night? Clean up the way Pitt did it, they counted it down to the trash bags used. So I'm just thinking if we can get more detailed. Some of these groups come in, I think, and they come in, they clean up themselves, everything is great. Other times,
It's a mess.
yeah, and we're footing the bill. Anyway, those were the things I was thinking of, and basically, like all of our fields, track the costs, what does it cost for maintenance, what does it cost for supplies, and start putting money aside in capital accounts if we have it available. But I know we're tight money-wise, but just think, same thing like with the trucks we're going to be buying. How long?
Those trucks are being bought with a grant. That's a grant that we apply for.
The garbage trucks.
Garbage trucks.
Right.
Electric garbage trucks. We didn't buy them, it's a grant.
So we didn't put any money towards Munhall. Okay. And then you also mentioned about having to buy.
Charges, are we?
That's part of the grant.
We're not paying for the chargers either.
Yeah, there's a separate grant, yeah.
Well, then that's fantastic.
We got a little bit of money, but not much.
What's a little bit? $10, $1,000, $1 million?
So to prepare the site, you actually have to put cement down.
Okay.
The cost of the cement pad,
Right.
we have to take care of. That's not covered in the grant.
Okay, and have we done that yet?
No, we don't have the site yet.
Okay. So,
Any
We have
other answers you can give Mr.
I
Callahan?
can give you some general answers about a bunch of this stuff. The reason we're moving the salt bin is not because we need to have a charging station there. Duquesne Light has asked us to move the salt bin.
why?
Because, why is it, a fire hazard?
The salt is
Corrosion.
too close to their power lines, their high service power lines. They come from Forest Avenue in the borough of Munhall.
Yeah.
And we never had their permission to put the salt bin where it was at. And it's too close to their power lines, so it has to be moved.
Okay, well, that makes
Thanks,
sense.
Tim.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So I could also, Dave, what we do the garbage truck, electric garbage truck also?
Yeah, so electric garbage trucks.
I could do that one more.
Sure, go ahead.
So, electric garbage trucks. So we saw that story in the news, myself, Bob, and the mechanic talked about it that next morning. We're going out on the 18th to the factory to find out what the problems are and see what's going on in Ohio to figure out everything that's going on with these garbage trucks. To make sure it's the best bang for the buck for the borough, and make sure we're not going to have equipment coming to Munhall Borough where our guys get hurt or they fail. So we are gonna go out there and take a look on the 18th.
And I know our last manager, he was concerned about how our regular trucks were parked so close to the salt pile because of the erosion from the salt, even the wind blowing in the rain, you should be keeping those trucks away from the salt. That's another issue too.
So the idea behind getting an additional piece of land to put a salt bin is also to kind of loosen up some of our equipment as well next to the salt bin. But we also have to move some equipment over there anyways because it's very crowded.
We weren't looking to buy, looking to use an existing borough property.
No, there is no existing borough property.
Well, there kind of is.
The Quonset.
No, the ones that we don't own, but number 5 has a big lot up there. There's places we can look at. that
Yeah,
bottom
we can
piece of
definitely,
property.
we can look at different
Right.
options.
What's wrong?
The paving is, we're waiting on bids right now. It's been posted. It's a lower lot, we're going to be paving, they'll be using the lower lot. The upper lot, we'll have to improve. We might never get a chance to do that, I've asked them about that.
So that's the reason negotiations with Turtle Creek Valley over the whole lot situation.
Yeah.
Right. Our solicitor's been with them on the whole lot. It's much more than they thought, much more than we thought, from the very beginning.
And then, I don't know of another HVAC unit anywhere.
Well, and again, I'm not sure, but when they were redoing the building, they put the HVAC units on the roof. Supposedly, I think 1 for each floor, or maybe 2 for each floor, I don't know how it works.
How many HVACs do we have up there, Bob? I thought we only had one.
I'm not sure, I think there's 2 or 3.
Only 2, okay. Because I know we need to have those installed for using the building for the office.
That's the news to me.
That's news to me too. I know there's 2 or 3 up there.
Yeah.
We double check that?
Yeah, we're gonna double check.
Anybody take a walk on the roof now and check on it?
Go for it. I'll change the light bulb while I'm doing it.
So there's been two discussions with the city of Pittsburgh regarding snow removal. They're working on a contract to present to our council, and then the council can review it and see whether they're interested. But basically, the nuts of it are, it's an agility agreement. So there's no actual obligation on our end, except for the basic idea is that little bit of around Castroville that we would add to our route and think about an hour. You're right, if we're doing multiple routes, but I don't know if we'll do that much of an addition. That's the part that we would actually voluntarily add, as well as store salt that they would drop off at our.
I thought they were talking about the whole 31st ward.
No.
No, just the Castroville side.
Castroville is
Okay.
what we're at this point in time talking about doing absolutely, which would not be that hard to add to our existing route. Another part is if they need it and it doesn't cost us anything like in terms of overtime, we could help out with Lincoln Place. But there's no obligation on our end to do that.
And there's a new administration coming in the city. This thing may be gone.
It might be.
fine.
But they've already actually started to help us out by sweeping
Right.
Main Street.
Right.
That's part of the whole agreement, but they're already just ahead on that, so. Yeah, no, but we don't have an agreement in place, it's just still being worked out by their solicitors.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the information.
Okay, Mike, thank you. The information the question on the units on the roof, we're going to have that checked out in just a couple of days.
Okay.
I thought there was one up there myself,
Yeah.
but we're going to look into that. Thanks. Public comments.
Hey, I'm Brad Maturia, 1332 Margaret Street, and I just wanted to follow up on my conversation from last meeting with the LERTA ordinance and try to see where you guys were on that. One of my capital recommendations was to have the solicitor start to look at some options for drafting an ordinance like that so that you can review some details a little bit more effectively. But I guess I'm just here to check in on that process. And I know President Nicholas, you weren't here for that meeting, so might need to catch up on something.
Right now, I haven't spoken to the solicitor about LERTA yet. It's probably in the back of his mind, but he's been focusing on a couple of other ordinances currently. most notably the tax forgiveness one that had been discussed for a while. But we can ask him about it.
He'll be here next week.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I just wanted to check in on that and,
I'll give him a call, so we'll have any information for next week, so he doesn't come unprepared.
Great.
Okay?
That sounds good.
All right, thank you. Hey. Any more comments?
I don't know if it's old news, new news, my name's
Sure, come on.
Floyd Crane. Supposed to be doing work down on the creek on the Main Street.
Name,
Floyd Crane, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say.
address?
1036,
There you go.
where the hill slide was.
Okay.
I'm not clear on whether you guys, where you stand at, whether you're gonna still fix that hill, because we had a neighbor came and said the road was hid. So I'd like to have that clarified, whether you're gonna fix the slide or not. And if not, we're gonna need to know the contractors that drilled the holes that caused that separation. And we're gonna need to know the contractors that came in there and took all the ground out. We don't believe that that's private. No one took any surveys, I don't believe, in this office or anywhere else. You maintain the creek. It comes down through Munhall.
Who maintains it?
Munhall.
We don't maintain the creek.
I've seen you working up there.
We don't maintain the, it's illegal for us to go to any waterway we're told.
Right, well, you do the sides of them without getting in the creek. You maintain the sides of the creeks, let's put it that way then. All right, what I need to know is if you guys are gonna fix the creek in front of my landslide or not. Are you gonna fix your wall?
Dave?
You did the drilling on my hill.
I
I never
understand.
gave you the property. I never signed a paper for you to bring down machines or to drill them drills on my property. And if that's a private road and that's my hill, you just came on private property and done a lot of damage. I understand that your lawyer told you that yins weren't gonna be responsible, but yins promised and you took, yins said that yins had a contractor down there already contracted to do it, you put bids out. So if you plan on putting bids out, because you knew them men destroyed our road, and now you're taking your bids back so you don't fix it.
Obviously, the solicitor isn't here tonight. He will be here next week. Would you mind coming back next week and addressing it? Or we'll address it even if you're not here. That way, it's in his hands right now. He's dealing with it for us. And I don't have any answers for you as far as what
Well,
he
is he dealing with this right now?
Oh, he's working on it, yes.
I mean, what is your guys' responsibility of this so far? I mean, you send people in there, we know that, because they did it. So how much responsibility are you not gonna take, or are you gonna take? And I'm gonna need the numbers of these contractors that were put on my property.
Okay.
Okay? I don't know if you have anything to add, or if I missed
That's
anything.
about it.
Okay.
You say come back next week?
Would you please? Or if not, we will address it anyway.
What day, sir?
Next Tuesday,
Next
7 o'clock instead of 6:30.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Will it be on the agenda then, on the?
Yeah, we'll do an agenda.
We'll put it on the agenda for you.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Any committee reports? Finance. David?
Yeah. We met yesterday, Ms. Fry and Mr. Jenkins and myself, went through the profit and loss budget versus actual from January through May 2025, looking at different items. A couple of areas of concern I want to be aware of is probably Public Works is a little bit over budget for where we should be, so we'll be on top of that in terms of the funding for the rest of the financing for the rest of the year. Also, our fire protection budget blew up because of all the repairs we had to do for vehicles this year. Let's see here. Overall, I'd say that we're actually in a decent position. There's been some added expenditures that we were not anticipating, but we do have that built in terms of $200,000 in flexibility in funding. So by the end of the year, we should be good. I got a report from the tax collector that we're above almost $1 million ahead of last year in terms of collecting taxes. So we've collected, I believe, $4 million, $3.5 million in taxes so far this year from the property taxes. Just seeing if there's any other highlights, anything you want to add? The two members of the finance committee?
Reedy, Dave,
Well, it was fine, everything we went over last night.
Reedy,
We went over it.
okay. Had a good meeting then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Pretty comprehensive. We're doing fine financially, but I want to keep an eye on a couple things just to make sure we don't go over budget.
Exactly, keep an eye on things.
So yeah, overall, we're okay.
Public Works,
We don't have anything this month.
we definitely look into the roof units.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had a flood here into the council chambers over the weekend, through the door. So that drain, obviously, this is the second time in what, 6 months, 8 months? And,
The fourth time.
right,
David said.
yeah. So, yeah, but it's the second time since I've been back, I know that, maybe the third. So, are we gonna hammer it? Is it collapsed? We just can't walk away from it and not address it, leave it standing as it is.
It's not getting cambered,
Okay,
and then we're talking about putting a roof over it,
okay,
so.
that'd be something too. Yeah, some kind of roof over it, overhang of some sort.
Yeah.
Okay, in the meantime, we still have to fix the drain itself. Even if we do put the roof over it, if it's something damaged, we still have to fix that.
Bob, we got a, up at the sewer authority, we have a lease on the camera. We might be able to do something there. I
Okay.
mean, call and talk to Jackie. I
Okay.
don't know if it'll fit in there or not. I don't know how big the pipe is.
I don't
I
know.
think it's 4 inch.
But these guys are trying to learn how to operate, so that might help.
Okay.
That's nice.
Parks and Recreation,
There's no report.
no report. Items for consideration for regular meeting. Go ahead, Dave.
Have them here too. Give me 1 second.
You want this?
No, the actual proposals, I have them all right over here for everybody to look at. Give me 1 moment.
This on recreation, the Main Street Market Nights start up this month, on the 27th of June. So we have our Main Street Market Night starting Friday, June 27th. So we'll be having, Main Street closed up from 5, till 9.
So when's excuse me, Mayor, when is the first one?
June 27th,
June 27th?
yeah, first Main Street Market Night.
All right.
What's this proposal?
This is the SNAP program. 6 proposals. We've received them.
I could have brought them over for us.
Yeah. Unfortunately, one of them is missing. I'll give you my recommendations on them all. So, if you recall, a few months ago, George Newsom came from DCED to explain the SNAP program, which is basically a 5-year planning grant from the state. This encompasses a variety of different things: fire study, police study, capital improvements plan, looking at the way the borough operates, and really delving into it. The council agreed to pursue this and apply for the grant, and we submitted a request for proposal from several. We sent it out to about 15 different companies, and we received 6 responses back. So I will go through them briefly, and if you have questions, we can talk about it more.
Okay.
So you'll have a technical proposal and a cost proposal from each of the different companies. The first one I'm looking at right now, real quick, is evaluation resources. This one right here. And he basically talks about what he would do. It's a summary of qualifications where he's worked in the past and doing a similar program in other municipalities with his team. And then on page 11, there's a management review approach which explains what he wants to do. Promote and develop staff effectiveness, policy, facilitation, quality assurance, technological literacy, budgeting, financial analysis, human resource management, strategic planning. It is all what he wants to do by talking to all of the borough employees and council and figuring out where we can make some recommendations on ways to improve the borough financially and structurally. Now, I don't expect you guys to obviously make a decision tonight, but I want you guys to look at these proposals. And we can.
Some are so much more extensive than others.
Some are more extensive.
Wow.
This is a, these are all, there's 6 of them. So there's 5 steps. The first step is financial condition assessment. Second step is financial trend analysis. Third step is emergency plan for current fiscal year. Fourth step is a management audit. Fifth step is a multi-year plan adoption, and sixth step is a 5-year plan implementation. He would then, at the end of his research, prepare a report for the council to look at all the recommendations he would have. From that point, whoever we choose, we could then go back to DCED and ask for funding to address all of the recommendations. We've already started with the fire study, that's separate, that doesn't cost the borough anything. We can also do a police study for free as well. But the other things will be some other policy implementations that will this is a way to get access to state funding that will help the borough in the long term. This is kind of a strategic plan, a 5-year plan. So that's the first. This is George Dougherty's program, and he is saying $80,000. Now, most of this money, 2/3 of it would be covered by the state, 1/3 would be covered by the borough. So that would be the first one.
That's something we've lacked here for a long time, a long-term plan. It's something we should definitely.
I can make my recommendation. Now, I know George Dougherty very well. I almost feel biased in any kind of recommendation with him, but I know several of these other people.
He was the man that was here and spoke.
No, that was George Newsom. George Newsom works for the state. George Dougherty is a professor at Pitt.
Okay.
And it teaches local government, municipal management. Strategic solutions, I met this guy actually last week at the conference, but he'd already submitted a proposal as well. I mean, I don't want to go through them all right now because the board are audience, but I want you to each take some time in looking at all of these proposals. They range from $59,000 to $80,000 in terms of the cost. We would pay for 1/3 of the cost. So I can talk about it at the executive session next week, before the meeting. We probably should try to move forward and choose somebody next week.
You want to put it on the agenda for next week?
Yes.
Okay.
But if you want to wait another month, we can.
No, I mean, we put things down, it seems like we just kick down the road. We never
But
get it
feel
done.
free to go through it. I want to answer any questions during this week that you guys have.
If we decide to scratch it next week, that's a different thing. I want to put it on the agenda. If they want to put it on the agenda?
Yeah.
I'm good for an agenda for that. We should have got these sooner.
I just got these last week.
Well, if we decide to scratch it, we'll scratch it.
We can take another month to talk about it. It's fine.
It's a lot of paperwork.
It is a lot of paperwork.
You want to wait till next month?
Yeah, we can put it on.
We can put it on. If we're not prepared, we'll scratch it. How's that?
That's right. I just,
So that's that. Ms. Fry recommended we discuss the issue of parking on Cambria Street by Troutman Field. In terms of the fact that a lot of residents are having a hard time finding parking during certain times of the day. I don't know if you want to expand on that.
They're having problems because of all the baseball down at Troutman. And people are parking not only on the street, but on their sidewalks. And the one particular fellow does not have a driveway. And he would have to park up by Park School. His wife's already had 2 ankle replacements, 2 knee replacements, 1 hip replacement. It's just not working. For them to put a handicap placard there would not help because anybody can use a parking spot that has handicap. But on Troutman side, like where Rob is, the whole block before, each resident has a parking sign that says residents only. Violators will be towed. at owner's expense.
So Bob, you have one?
No, I don't have one. I have a driveway. It's for the ones that don't have driveways.
They
I have
have
a
one?
driveway, I don't have one.
So they don't park in front of those houses during baseball games?
There's about 4 houses, 4 or 5
Okay.
houses.
I wasn't aware of that.
You know, it's on
Good idea,
the.
actually.
Huh?
It's a good idea if you don't have a
It's close to the
driveway.
playground. It's close to the playground side, and there's like 4 or 5 houses that don't have garages there.
Okay. But I'm just telling you,
But I don't have one, no. I don't have a garage.
there's unintended consequences to doing these things.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
Once you do it here, it's gonna go to Woodville.
yep.
And it's gonna move, and as far as parking on the sidewalk, they get a ticket for parking on the sidewalk,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I nobody does it.
Well, I mean, I can't help that. But, I don't know what, I have no idea. Anybody have any ideas on this?
If the signs are on Troutman, they should at least be on Cambria also.
There's no signs on Cambria?
No,
And it's only the people that don't have
There
driveways
is an existing ordinance up there
on
on Cambria.
Is there?
I don't know.
I asked, Greg Vashevich, I asked Chief Ford, and he said we have to talk to Greg, so that there are parts throughout the borough who have signs like this, okay? Particularly there. And don't take us wrong, but we've heard many times from the people down at Woodhill, they can't get, it's a mess. And God forbid we have a fire down there, or the police have to go around, or the ambulance. It's bad. So, I mean, you saying, well, this could spread. Well, maybe it needs to spread, because I'm not saying everybody burn, but I'm just saying some parts of the borough are in bad shape.
These ball fields have been here for a long, long time.
Not at the expense they are now.
No, it's not as big as it used to be.
It used to be,
Woodhill's huge.
it used
Baseball's a lot bigger in
Woodhill-
Munhall.
Woodhill's
It used to be 3 times as bad, if not 4 times as bad.
Munhall baseball was bigger back.
Munhall baseball, we used to have
Well,
6, we used to have
300-400 kids, now they
6.
have about under 200.
Yeah, this is minimum. I mean, we used to have 6 little league teams,
Mhm.
5,
There were
6,
over 400 kids.
yeah,
It
well
was a lot
over.
worse when I first
That was
moved there.
There is an ordinance on the books that I remember reading probably 15 years ago where during baseball season, Troutman's one way and Cambrian's one way. But that's only from May till whatever, till July or August. We may want to look,
That's
see what it
I
was
don't know
written.
if the books are up, that.
Yeah, it's an ordinance, I remember reading it
That
years
sounds
ago.
like a headache.
Yeah, it probably was a headache.
That's why they.
Probably didn't
I don't
work.
remember that being ever happened.
I never remember.
I've always drove both, I mean,
I never-
actually, I avoid Cambria during baseball season, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
So where do you propose all the people park for the field?
They'll move somewhere else, and we'll get complaints from wherever,
Well, those
wherever they
kids-
don't park, they'll go somewhere else, we'll get complaints from them.
those-
Unintended consequences. If they can't park on Cambria, they'll go around the bend and they'll park.
Well, they can park on Cambria, just the ones that don't have a
Well, most of
driveway.
the houses on Cambria do have
Do they?
garages. I mean, most of them do.
The one
I mean,
that
I know
I'm
there's a
telling you
few that
about is
don't.
3532 in Newcastle.
Okay.
So you wanna do an ordinance for one person? That's what it sounds like.
Okay. If that was your house and you couldn't get in and you had all those body parts removed or
Well,
fixed,
I'm just saying, you wanna do an ordinance for one person, that's
It's
what
already, Bernie, it's already in the books.
What's that?
It's already in the books.
What is
The
it?
ordinance is in the books.
There's no parking on Cambridge Street, on the east side of Cambridge Street from Main Street to West Run Road.
oh, jeez.
So everyone up there has a house, tell them now they can't park on the street because you can't park there no more.
That goes for residents
That's
who
the
can park.
west side. The house is on the west side. The east side is the ball field side, I think.
But there's houses on the other side,
East side's the ball field side,
in the top
I think.
part.
yes.
So that's what it says in the ordinance, right here.
Does it say what time of the years or something?
No, it just says, parking shall be prohibited at all times in the following locations. And they just list a bunch of streets, and that's what it is.
So,
I don't think it's posted, I've never seen it posted. So you can't, I mean, it's
Probably-
not posted, you
Probably
can't.
never been enforced either, but
Posted up
on the
school.
Yeah, probably up by the
Up by the school it is, yeah, there are postings by the school, but
Main
not,
Street to
No,
north of Union, Main Street, and Lawrence Avenue.
West Run Road.
And then Main Street to West Run.
so, the address you're talking about, Randy, it's, if you're going down, the ball field's on your right, the house is on the right. No?
No, the house is on the left. You know where Wayne Road goes off of Cambria?
Yes, up there.
All right, the very first, going up Cambria, the very first house before you turn onto Wayne Road, it used to be Finnegan's. The next house, I think it's 3532, is the house that does not have a driveway. I'm telling you this
Right.
because it is personal, it's family.
Right, I understand.
And they're like, we need something done. There's not any parking on the street, they're parking on our sidewalk. So, now are you saying, Tim, that they're not allowed to park, anybody park on the street? Or is it
On the ball field side.
Says
on the
east
ball
side.
field side?
Says on the
Okay.
east side of the street.
Thanks.
Danny, you want to, Tim, you want to read that to James? Regarding Cambridge Street, parking.
On the east side, and then Main Street on the north side, to you.
Yeah, it's on there.
Lawrence.
Have you ever heard of it, James?
I didn't, but it's
There's
there.
any signs ain't up anywhere. And that's something that we have, that's something to look into also.
Sure.
I don't think,
There's an ordinance there, we have to go through with it and do it.
Yeah, this is on the side where.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, that's on the
With the-
side where the family
field,
I'm
right?
talking about.
That'd be the east side,
but they
And then
built
it's
on
another
the,
pool on the other side.
and they built them the parking spots up there where they built on that side also.
Yep.
So you're gonna ask us not to enforce the ordinance on one side, but make another one for the other. That's what we'd have to do. Right? We'd have to not enforce one side, but make a new ordinance for the other side.
Correct.
That would be,
100%.
you'd have a gang here,
Mm.
just be prepared.
It's not the first one,
I mean, do anybody remember Perry Street? We changed the parking on the side of Perry Street about 20 years ago. Everyone was, and then the next day, the other side, next meeting,
Yeah.
the other side of Perry Street. And my sister lived on that side of Perry Street, so I really got beat up. So, you know,
Is it set up that way because it's really hard to drive if there's two sets of cars on the road?
even since that ordinance, they changed the parking pattern up there to pull straight in on the east side, which was a crazy thing to do 20 years ago. On the right-hand side, they did the pull-in parking, and that made it even harder to come down Cambridge Street. So I don't know what to do with this.
I would be very careful
I
on.
think we need to go back and look at the ordinance, because there's a lot of streets on here where I know cars park, like right now, like on Andrew Street. There's no parking on Andrew Street in certain lots.
But why?
Right, so I mean, that's something maybe we should go back and look at the whole.
A lot of these ordinances like Andrew Street, were when the mill was there. And the mill workers used to park on those streets, and, you know, it goes back a long time. So a lot of it has to be looked at, like a lot of our ordinances.
Well, we did put money in the budget for this year to basically tackle all of it.
Right.
So we should, I'm gonna reach out to a couple of, I've got some names of people I want to reach out to get them come and give us some costs.
Okay.
How much it costs to really look at all of our ordinances.
So do you think that the people are eligible for a handicap placard?
They don't want a handicap placard because for anybody who has a handicap.
Anybody can, but, you know, that's, I understand what you're talking about. Anybody handicap placard can
Put
park.
the sign up, resident parking only, that would make them happy. They're the resident, they don't have, you know.
But we just can't, we can't enforce it. We can't enforce it.
Just one property.
So we put a sign up. We can,
It can't be one property.
You have to change the whole ordinance to be able to enforce it.
Yeah, almost to the point where you would do, you know, you can't do a spot thing.
Private neighbor, they can put up their own sign. Well, you can put up your own sign.
Yeah, but was that field there when they bought their house?
Yes.
Yes, it was, but
And they
changed.
shouldn't have bought the house then.
And I grew up on the corner of 12th and Martha, the high school was there. We could never park on 12th Avenue. We kind of knew that, and it was like, hey, boom, you couldn't park on 12th Avenue.
I lived through it, you know, I mean, 30 years ago, pretty much when I bought my house, baseball was in its heyday
Right.
here. And there were
You
many
still
days
bought it then?
many days that I would say, why did I buy it? This baseball field. But over the years, there's less and less
There.
people playing Little League baseball. So it's has, you know, it
But Rob,
has,
you also have a driveway.
and I have a driveway.
Okay, you have a driveway, I went to drop something off at your house, and it was so tight, I almost couldn't pull into your driveway.
Well, sometimes it is.
Yeah, it was like,
I'm blocked in, I mean,
Yeah.
but I learned to live with it.
I don't know what to tell you, Lee. I have no idea. Anybody have any ideas how to solve this problem?
Chief Galliano, please look into it, or along with Moon, maybe. Please.
It has to be a new ordinance, the ordinance has to be addressed across the board. There's issues all over the ordinance.
Well, and like David said, we're gonna do them all. Adopting 2021 International Property Maintenance Code.
Right now I use the 2015 property maintenance code. Every so many years we like to use the newest version. So 2021,
Can't hear you, Dave.
right now I'm using 2015 International Property Maintenance Code. Every few years it's good to adopt a new one.
What is it about, Jay?
It's where I write people for high grass, garbage. When you do home inspection, you get to follow the smoke
Just
alarm.
more updated for.
It's more updated. It's more current.
Dave, that will have to be a resolution.
No.
No.
No?
It's, you saw the resolution, ordinance from before, saying you just have to vote to, I'll give you a copy of the ordinance that talks about it. We'll double check. I think we just voted on it, but we'll double check before next week.
There's a lot of good things.
Discussing Planning Commission recommendations for subdivision 301.
Yeah, Les, on Tuesday, they went in front of planning on East James Street. There's a lot of duplexes down there that have been subdivided into two separate lands. This is just another one that wants to be done.
That's the Costrum.
Cluster there.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a simple subdivision.
Yeah, it's just so.
What do they want to do? Just
A subdivided condo.
It's a duplex right
The
now.
duplex condo, they want to subdivide, so
So they can sell either side.
you can sell themselves.
Separate.
thank you.
And there's 8 other ones like that that have been done in the past.
Is there any more after that one to be done?
There could be one more.
Yeah.
1 or 2 more, I should say.
Then if you up on the street above it, there was that one where Dawn lives. There's a duplex up there, if they start selling them.
Yeah. Maybe some of
We have to take them one at a time.
them. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah.
They come in and distill it. Discuss MSSA grant application and agreement with Munhall.
Yeah, so by the firehouse number 1, MSSMA is working on upgrading their sewer, some of the sewer storage tanks on the lot, in the dog park lot and the lot next to the fire station. And as part of a larger project to improve that lot across the board. And we'll have to do some work ourselves, we'll have to do some improvements ourselves in terms of us, but the grant that they're receiving will improve a lot of it. And we'll just have to fill in the rest.
That's what Jackie was talking about here.
That's what Jackie was talking about.
Right.
But technically, there's long-term lease agreement with the fire station. But it is argued that because we are the owners of the property, now BG might have a different opinion, that we are the ones that actually required to go to an agreement with the sewer authority. I don't know if you want to add anything.
No, I mean, we met, Mr. Youngkin, Dave, we all met down there. The proposed project is going to turn out really well with them taking that whole area of the dog park, revamping that. The little bit of stuff that we have to do is the removal of some of the pavement that was busted up from years ago, even when I was a kid, that never really got addressed. And then we also have a grant in line with Grow Pittsburgh to come in and with the improvements that are going to be made, the Grow Pittsburgh is going to work with us on a huge grant to put in tabletop per se grow bins. So that way we have an area that people can just come in, it'll be under lock and key, so that way, you know, you just ask for an application, you come in, you can grow whatever you want, and then we want to propose doing kind of like what Main Street Market does down there, is have a, like Friday night at the park, where, you know, you open it up to the people, and, you know, you can either, you know, get rid of the stuff that you grow, or do whatever, but have food truck, stuff like that, and revitalize it. That's our future.
3 quarters is gonna improve the whole lot.
Correct.
Big
Yeah.
time.
So we secured some funding, we also put our own money into that. So we're just falling a little bit shy on the total overall project for that. And Dave is right, we do have a lease agreement that we did years ago when we were actually at the Munhall Borough building. And I know Jackie and I talked, and even with Dave, all we need to do is an amendment to allow them access to do maintenance. I think the 20-year lease agreement, I think, is what they need to do maintenance on that project.
I think that's what it is.
So that's really all we need to do, and I know I mentioned it to Greg before, all we have to do is just an addendum to what we currently have, because, and it would just make it easy in 1, 2, 3. I think it's gonna be good for the community down there.
Oh, my God.
And we started doing this on our own, just to do something for the community. So I think with the sewer authority helping project at least 75% of that completion, with other funding that we secured to do that, I think it's a win-win if we can have the borough come up and just help with like the millings and stuff like that to get rid of the rest of the pavement. And then we'll just make it all one big dog park, and then we'll have our one area for the grow garden. They're gonna put in the proposed rain garden along the fence line there, which is pretty much maintenance-free. And it'll all be impervious. I mean, it'll be a beautiful layout when it's all done. And they're actually gonna give us a curb cutout and some parking area, because right now, when you park up there at the dog park, you don't really have a place to park. And coming up Martha Street and you see the cars that are right there, I mean, even back in the heyday when we used to go down to the playground, guys would park on the side there, people fly up the hill. I mean, Bernie, you've been down there, you know what it's like. So they're gonna give
You're
us
up in that
park.
corner.
Yeah, so they're gonna give us.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, and they're gonna give us some parking cutouts right there so we can actually pull cars in, so that people can actually go in and use the parks and enjoy it without having to worry about getting their cars sideswiped or parking on the sidewalk.
No, when they give you the parking spots, are they gonna set that fence back a little bit so
Yes.
there's still a sidewalk for people to walk on?
Yeah, so that was one of the things that we did talk about up there, and Jackie and I reviewed that over the past 2 meetings that we had virtually. With them coming in and taking the stormwater runoff, they're gonna rip down most of the fence there, because, I mean, they're gonna bulldoze it pretty much, is what they're doing. So they have to replace everything that was there, so that's gonna benefit us as the borough and the fire department, because there's a lot of money that's gonna be tied up in
That
new
fence
things.
is like 1950.
Oh, it's old, oh yeah. So, you know, with that, that'll help us, and we've replaced some sections of that fence ourselves, but this will help with
Does
that.
that fence need to be that high anymore?
Probably not.
Probably not, but again, it's a matter of then setting it up and then chopping it back down, and, you know, is there a cost associated with that? Maybe when we replace sections of the fence, we can make it smaller?
That's what I mean, yeah.
You know what I mean? I have no problem with that, I'm always up for whatever. and
I just think it would look better and be less maintenance.
Right, that was just a big thing, when it keeps falling.
That was, yeah, for the balls,
Yeah,
that's all, there's not gonna be a playground there.
And again, I have no problem with that, I mean, we can, you know, discuss that even with the sewer authority, but
That's fine.
you know, having those parking lots and parking spaces available, and still being able to do a movie night and a food truck
I
night
think it's
down
gonna be
there.
excellent.
You know, I know we've shown the rendering to some of the residents down there, and they are excited for that. So it's something different that Whitaker has a small one, Homestead, you guys they have a small one down there, and this is gonna be 3 times the size of that.
Good.
So basically, we just need to authorize, sign a landowner letter of commitment.
That's it. Greg will take care of that for us.
Yeah, basically, we just have to vote on it next week.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Tax forgiveness discussion.
Yeah, so there's a lot of questions about what's going on with this. So, update everybody, Greg of Ashwick has been looking into setting this up in terms of an ordinance for a tax forgiveness program. One of the things he asked, I believe in February was, maybe March, that we need people in the office handling most of the legwork. And Dave and Taylor can handle most of that.
Okay.
John will take it.
No,
Oh, you?
Dave can't.
Okay.
Oh, Dave, yeah. Sorry.
And, but I believe Greg had a call with you, Dave, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Greg asked me to call Still Valley to make sure they were on board with it. I talked to the business manager there, and it didn't sound like they adopted anything for tax forgiveness program. I think they gave you his response. Well, I did talk to Dan Reuters today, and he was under a complete different understanding that they agreed to do the same thing that Houston did. So, I heard
We're
it.
trying to figure that out.
I
We're
thought that
trying,
was all done months ago.
Yeah, we thought
Yeah,
so.
I
I thought
thought
so
we agreed to
too.
do it already.
like I said,
But his
Greg wanted,
response, you have his email in your packets here from Steel Valley Director of Finance, saying they currently only forgive, waive past fees and interest, and not the actual taxes.
Originally, they don't do it. That's
Well,
no good.
but I thought, like I said, I talked to
But then Dan Roy says.
Dan Roy said, no, we agreed to it, we've signed off on it.
We're still investigating that.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to be done yet, but.
The investors, Braveheart said when he was talking to me about
They
this,
did it, right.
that they forgive it just like the borough
He went to
does.
the meeting.
That's what Dan Roy said. Dan Roy said, we took the actual same thing that
So maybe the school board.
Houston did, they just signed Steel Valley.
When the business guy just didn't know what was going on.
I don't know.
He's the director of finance and operations.
He doesn't know what's, he
You
doesn't
don't know
know.
what's going on.
Right.
Well,
But I'm sure Greg will have some more to talk about on that. for next
okay, Greg's on it, so.
So once that's taken care of, how soon will it be?
We have to adopt an ordinance, so I'll put it on the agenda for next week, assuming Greg has an ordinance prepared to put out for advertisement, and then vote on it the following month.
As long as
Everything else is aligned.
with the school district,
Yeah,
right,
so in theory, we can have it approved in August,
okay.
well, July.
July,
Yeah,
July.
yeah.
What's the person's name again, the financial officer? Or director?
John Drager.
John Dreyer.
John Draper.
You were in touch with him, weren't you?
No, but I was in touch with Dan.
Okay.
We were just not on the same page.
Oh, yeah. I think
Okay.
that's probably what's.
Acrisure Pension Management Agreement,
Yeah, this is an annual agreement with Acrisure. They've been serving us very well. It used to be Macahopp until recently. But they handle all of the actuary and calculations for our pensions. Sue Trout is the person that works for them and we have a contact. She is very good, and it's just, council need to authorize another year of work.
right, just the name change, that's all.
Yeah, name change and just an annual update for it, so.
Did the fees go down?
Let's take a quick look here.
From what you paid last year to this year?
Probably everything
Yeah,
else did.
everything else is on up. I'll give you an exact number next week. But it's gonna be annual fee of, for the general fund, $4,750, and the police department, $53.85. So $10,000 in fees to Acrisure for managing our, which they've done very well. But I'll give you an exact amount of increase for next week.
Nova Strategies Grant Writer Renewal,
Our grant writer, Dan Soltes, also is asking for a renewal of the grant agreement, and he has been great to work with. He's gotten us a lot of money in the last 9 months. So I think it's well worth it.
Signed it twice.
Yeah.
okay,
We
So
did
he's-
pay him $2,500 a day. What's he asking now?
28.6.
Yeah,
What is it?
28.6.
28.6. But he also got us a $450,000 grant from Main Street now recently, so
Yeah, he's worth it.
he's
sounds a
definitely.
lot more than worth.
And he helped us with the $47,000 grant for computers in the park.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
Borough Mechanic Long-Term Planning,
Yes, so I was talking with John Chismar, our mechanic back there at Public Works, and he's gonna eventually retire. He's feeling good now, but he's doing year by year now.
I know what that's all about.
62 years old, still loving the work, so that's good. But at some point in time, he's gonna retire,
Right, not gonna be long.
and we don't have a replacement plan. It's gonna be hard to find somebody that good that can handle big trucks and regular vehicles. They're not mechanics like that.
How do we contract through him?
First vehicle.
So first vehicle, will be their job to replace him.
They'll
We
be
don't
their
know
job
where-
to replace
we
him.
don't know where we're gonna get
But
it.
his opinion is that we have a 1 year-by-year contract with First Vehicle right now because they don't think he's going to be replaceable and basically they'll just be done with us.
They'll walk away.
Exactly.
Oh, damn.
So we'll be SOL, if you pardon my
Years ago, we talked about trying to hire him, but there were some
He was
tampering
finally
things that
doing
we would have
that,
been
but
in trouble,
that-
they would have a
That was
lawsuit
with
on us.
Brian, if I'm not mistaken.
What I'm suggesting we do, and for the next year's budget, is basically bring in somebody that does just cars. Young, go-getter, look all over the state to find him. The best guy we can find anywhere,
To do what now?
to learn everything he can from John while he's there.
Well, we contact some tech schools.
We can talk to tech school, we just need
Right.
to find the best person we can, somebody who can actually handle what he can do.
Okay.
Because most of the mechanics come out and can either do regular vehicles or big vehicles, not both. He can do both.
Okay.
And the complicated part is, you want to enter the union, but he's not gonna be throwing garbage.
Right.
He's gonna be a specialized, I don't know how the union contract handles that, but he's a specialist. He'll be paid differently, all that stuff.
Right.
But I think it's the long-term plan, 2 to 3 years, we're gonna need to find a replacement. We might as well train him up, it's gonna cost us some money, but it can help with the work. And if he can learn everything he can from John in the next 2 to 3 years, I think we'll be in a good spot.
Will it save us money in the long term?
Oh, big time.
Yes,
And then we'll have our own employee, we don't have to go through first year.
correct.
So that's what I think we should do. I'll put it in the budget for next year, but I want to get everybody's opinion on
I'm all for it. Anybody else any comments on that?
If we had to, can we hire two young guys that know one of each, and then they could work together?
that. It's more expensive.
That's just a budget issue. That's all.
That's just a budget
It
issue.
is a budget issue, yeah.
I mean, if we can't find one that's,
Right,
you know,
right.
Blackout shades for police offices and community rooms.
Yeah, we had someone come by a few weeks ago. The chief and Jamie were saying that it's just too bright and hot, I would say, in those offices they have.
Well, with my office especially, because there's a walkway behind it, it's actually a CJIS violation to not have something over that window, because people could see in and see my computer and everything.
So we have a quote from Kathy Bremer, she emailed to me, for the work and for the police side is $2,000. And then I also asked them to look at, not as thick of a fabric, but for the community rooms that we were talking about, to make that a little cooler as well. I also have a quote for $2,050 for that.
That sounds, we don't have to have that bid or anything.
No, it doesn't, I just wanted to get
That
council.
that could be handled in-house with management, right?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to have council
Right.
vote on it next week, but yeah. So I just wanted to have you aware that what we're doing, and it'll, of course, address.
And that was including the conference room on our side?
I believe so, yes, I'll double check.
Because we do our internal training in there.
Yeah, Jason Conference,
can't do the
Blackout
projector.
sheets, the sergeant's office and Jason Conference room.
That's 1968.
Yeah. Oh, actually, this is actually just the 4,000 for the chief's office, assistant chief's office, and the blackout for the sergeant and the conference room. So that's just $4,000 just for that. I don't have a quote for the, I don't have a quote yet for the community room. Well,
We're not ready for that then.
no, I'll get that though, but we can vote on this next week.
Vote on what?
Next week, vote on the getting blackout shades for the police side.
Well, you don't have all the numbers now.
Yeah, but just for the police, I do.
Oh, for the police you do, okay.
Yeah.
not for the community room.
Not for you. All right.
Yeah.
Cameras at Troutman Field.
We got that set up on Friday, and the cameras have been ordered, and once they're here, which I imagine will be next week or so, I will contact our IT guy to go and install them. So hopefully the next week and a half, they'll be up there.
Okay. Solar use on borough property.
Yeah, so there's been some emails back and forth regarding what we can do in terms of the property down there by the waterfront. Greg has been in communication. I don't know the latest though. Do you have any updates yet?
He's talking to another company, they've been sending emails back and forth, because I've been getting them too. But, there's nothing.
But I do have this proposal, not even a proposal, really, a description of a project in your packets here. But Greg can probably reply, discuss it next week. There's nothing to vote on at this point, just wanted to give you an update that we're still in discussion about that.
Anything else, Dave, you want to throw in there?
No, it's just that, like I said before, that, the one company projected that if we owned the solar farm down there, we owned all the equipment, we'd pay all our bills, and then about $100,000 we'd put into the general fund every year, and then, it would pay all our bills for any borough building, and that's over 300, that's around 300,000 we budget for electric, so that'd be a good savings for a piece of land that's not being used or anything.
Only thing that scared me with any kind of long-term lease, outlives the solar panels themselves.
They said the solar panels last 30 years. I was talking to Matt Bovee about it, and he said it'd be better to buy it because he's into that. He said because it'll take you about 10 years to pay it off. He said then you got 20 years of money being made. But I don't know, I had Greg look at it to go both ways, either buy it or let them go in there and give us a lease for it. And they said they could pay our $300,000 in electric, but we wouldn't get as much in profit.
Right, one way or the other.
One way or the other. But like I said, I've been talking to Matt Bovee because his family has a company. I'd like them to reach out to us too.
Any comments on the solar issue? Assist Homestead in fixing potholes on 8th Avenue and Amity. Homestead will give Munhall police vehicle scales. Okay, all right.
Manager.
I thought we had our own scales, Jamie.
We do not.
We had them at one time.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. I don't
Whatever
even know
happened to
whatever
those?
happened with them. I don't know in the transition where they're at or what happened. but-
Blue legs.
Because I know it was a big deal, and we had to go and buy those things. We were gonna have, to get an officer trained to use those, I can't remember who it was.
Jimmy Williams.
You're okay. And it was gonna be, we went and bought those things, and I was very skeptical of it, and we didn't even know where the scales were at. But anyway, how's this gonna work?
Scott McCullough, I think, went down there this week. Did you go down there this week, Bob?
Yes.
And he's kind of assessed the situation, how much asphalt they would actually need. They'll provide the resources. We'll just provide a little bit of our equipment.
Okay.
To mill it, and to help them pour it all and use all of our expertise and our equipment to help get it done. And we have to do it quickly because it's such a busy intersection and choose the right time of day. But basically I need the Borough Homestead to commit their entire public works staff to make sure there's no traffic goes through plus the police department. To make it clear, yeah.
Talked with Scott today.
Yeah.
It's gonna be too big of a job.
Is it?
So he measured out for me, and Homestead is going to bid out that job.
Okay.
But the skills are still coming.
Well, good. All right,
Jamie, what are we gonna do with the scales?
We're gonna have to take them to Harrisburg to get calibrated.
Do we want these scales, Jamie?
Pardon me?
Do we want these scales?
Yes.
Okay.
We have one of our new officers
They
going
put trucks
to the...
over, enforce, wait on trucks. The big trucks that come through town.
No, the question, Jamie, is if we find a truck that's overweight and stuff, and like when we get tickets, we don't give the $13 out of a ticket, how much are we gonna get out of something like that?
The fines are lucrative.
Right, but does it more of it go to the state, like a speeding?
It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it for the Borough of Munhall.
It would be?
Yes.
Okay.
And I have arrangements to be able to transport them to Harrisburg at no charge to the borough.
Doing that.
Well, I think we should still, I'd like to still do more cooperation with our neighbors.
Definitely, exactly. This is,
municipalities.
Oh, if they don't need it right now, but
Yeah, but
down the road, we can help them out.
We have stuff, they have stuff. I mean,
Right.
It's just how it's gonna have to work.
that's intergovernment cooperation should be a big issue that we should all embrace. Subcommittee develop recommendation for Old Borough Building. What does that mean?
Basically, we need to have a couple people assigned to this council to figure out what we want to do with whatever it is.
Okay.
I mean, we've been sitting on it, and I can't make a decision, obviously, because it's not my call. But basically, the council needs to basically say, okay, what do we want to do? Want to fix it up? Do we want to tear it down? Do we want to turn it something else? So I think a committee needs to be formed.
My thing is now we're halfway through this year. We have a brand new council coming in 6 months. So, huh?
We can let them do it.
Yeah, I mean, we set up a committee, a new comes in, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Let's do that in January.
I'm always thinking about it and see what we can do with it.
Everybody okay with that?
I'm not.
Okay. What do you want to do?
I'm not good with us letting the building sit through another year without any heat in it.
Okay.
No heat in a building is not good.
Now, before winter you're talking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna wait till January to even think about it.
Well-
That's a poor decision as far as I'm concerned.
Can we put it on the agenda to sell it?
Do whatever you want, council vote.
That's pretty quick, Tim.
I mean, we're just sitting.
I don't think we should give up that piece of land.
Yeah.
It closes off the whole complex of Munhall's field and everything. I think it's an asset, not something you'd wanna sell. If anything, maybe put something else there.
Yeah, I agree.
This is our campus here.
Yes, it's our campus, and I don't think we should break it up.
What are we gonna put there?
Who knows?
That's why we get a committee together to figure it out.
So we're back to wait until January to figure out what we're gonna do at that point then.
No, between now and January, there's 5 months or 6
We
months.
can still think about it.
And
I don't
we
think
could
we need, I
start
think we
talking.
could start it on
I think
now.
it'd be great if we included some people who would be interested from the audience or from the.
That's true, but
Talking
the
about-
council, it comes right down to council's decision. That's the
I know,
point.
but we need some
I'm
input,
all for that too, I'm fine with that.
you know.
We have a citizen committee that wants to get together and do that, I'm fine with it.
I'd like to be on that committee.
Randy wants to be on that committee.
Me too.
Mr.
Thank
Reeves.
you.
We have 2 members from council. Mr.
Sure, Brad would.
Well, we can put it up for a vote to actually create the committee, then
We'll do that.
accept nominations.
Then we'll do that. We'll have on the agenda next week to create the committee, how's that?
Okay.
And then the new council can come through next month and change, in 6 months and change the whole thing, just so you know. Time is of the essence. Okay.
I understand.
Police chief advertising.
Have they ever thought about historical tax credits for that building? Like, I know they did Bishop Boyle, they were able to get a ton of money, and, I mean, that's something to think about too, is if they could do a
It's
part.
not a historical building.
Sure.
I
No,
think
it's
it would,
not one bit.
you could look at the years,
Not
I
one
think
bit.
there's certain, when was it built, 30s?
1940.
So it's close, it's close.
It's sentimental, nothing historic. Okay, police chief advertising.
Yeah, well, since we now have the resignation,
Okay.
chief, you have it in your packets, the actual.
By the way, our police chief is retiring on August 15th. Retiring, right?
Yeah, retired.
So on August 15th, so we're gonna have a, look for a new police chief. And
It
I'd
might
like-
be good to.
Just thinking that we haven't officially put that out, so it's here.
Just maybe
Tom Fuller.
post it next week, move to post it next week, and then do a search and how we want to do it.
Right.
Just so if there's any overlap with the current chief, it might be helpful.
Okay.
One other quick thing I forgot to add to the agenda, I'll pass it out real quick. We talked about the generator over here. We do have a quote from a company that will actually do preventative maintenance agreement.
Do you have any agreement on it now?
I don't know what we have right now, but
Shouldn't we look into that though too, Dave?
we can definitely look into exactly what we have. We don't have any existing agreement as far as I understand, but this is what I have right now. I just want you to think about it. We don't vote on anything right at this point in time. We just want to let you know, and then we'll talk about it more. But we do need to probably put something.
James, this is the company we called that night, right?
Pardon me?
This Pelco, is that the company that came that night?
It is, yes.
Yeah. They kind of helped us out.
They did.
Yeah. Anyway, the night of the big storm, the generator didn't work, building was shut down. It was pretty ugly, so we have to make sure now. From what I hear, talking to, that generator does test itself every week?
Yeah,
It does. It is operable, it is doing that.
yeah.
How do we know it's doing it?
You can hear it running.
You can hear it run. Okay. Any old business?
I brought this up one time before. I'm looking to have a committee too to start up. Munhall's going to be 125 years old next year. And a lot of the surrounding communities, West Homestead is going to be having something. I want to see us do something here in Munhall too. So I'm going to try to put a meeting together before the end of June on the 125th anniversary of Munhall Borough.
After the last meeting,
I have one volunteer.
somebody gave me a book. They're from where'd they all come from?
The library gave them to me.
Okay, where did they get them?
I'm gonna have to ask him. I think Mayor Bodner may have wanted to get rid of, well, there was a lot of extra books, and then Mayor Bodner donated them to the library, and now the library has gave them back to us.
Okay.
That's what I believe happened.
Okay.
I'd like to ask a question.
Sure.
Chief Katerina, about regarding the draft house up on Main Street,
Yes.
Friday, Saturday nights, between the lights, the LED lights, the floodlights, the music, the screaming, it's bad. I'm not, let them there till 11 o'clock. I'll even say 11:30, Friday night, Saturday night. I think 11:30 they need to get inside because there's many residents.
Is it
I
people
don't
hanging
think
out?
what-
Is it people hanging out there?
They're all outside because the added, and it
No,
was.
it's outside and not in the alley.
They were supposed to go in the.
They in the alley, Ray?
An area, but you're right.
They're in
I-
the-
No, they're in the area that's all fenced in, okay? However, if you have children, if you have to get up for work in the morning, if you, older people, and this is a residential area. I know I keep bringing it up. I have personally called 911 3 times already, okay? I don't know, and other people in this room live fairly close also, but I'm just saying, it's getting out of control. I know when we said we'd let them be up there, we said for 6 months at a clip, and it was probably going to be the summer months.
That was for the table, that was for the seating out front.
Out in the front. Well, I will say, the back has never looked as good as it looks now. It's fabulous. Whoever that, and it's Larry Stahl, whoever he hired, we should all get that person, the company's name, because my God, it's fabulous. But it's just the principle. 11:30 at night, I think they need to be in the morning. They're there till 2 in the morning, okay? When I called at 12:30 one night, it was pouring rain one night. It was 5 after 1 in the morning, and it was my second call. And I said, somebody's got to get up here. This is out of control. So, please, and I hate to say, keep calling.
I'll talk to Larry.
I'm just saying,
Right.
we know it's up there. Friday and Saturday is there.
Are we allowed to regulate a business?
Well, the LCB rules too, right?
Yeah,
LCD has their own rules.
yeah, but you still have a noise ordinance.
I understand there was, on Saturday, I understood, someone that was in there told me that the police did come up and they did make them go inside.
Okay?
That's what I heard, that's what the person was in there told me.
I'll talk to Larry and see if we can get on the same page with maybe his staff telling him to stay inside the bar after.
We don't want to ruin a good thing for him.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he does a lot for our community. I'm the
Yeah,
first one.
That ain't gonna
He's a
happen.
good guy, but it's just, you know, and
I
they're,
thought when we were discussing them years ago or whatever, and they wanted to build that deck out there, I thought that he said that at 10 o'clock, everybody was.
That was the front.
No, it wasn't, it was
the
the
back?
back, because I live back there,
It was,
and I
it was
know.
a different discussion at the time. What you're saying is correct.
Okay, good, okay.
When did that happen?
That happened before the topic of the seating in the front.
Yeah.
He wanted to build an addition
Yeah,
back
there's
there,
even there.
and he was basically shut down. They didn't allow it.
The first
LCB
time the first time they had LCB or rolling, they said, no, you can't have it. When COVID came in 2020, LCB checked, we want everybody outside. We want no one by each other. So they opened the doors for everyone to have outside seating. They told people, bars, hey, if you can have outside seating, have it.
Right.
So LCB, what you have to do for LCB to put pressure on it is call LC, or call the police report, and it becomes a nuisance. And then LCB could tell Larry, hey Larry, you can have the outside, but it has to be, no one can be out there at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, past 12 o'clock.
I think that's the route
That's
to go.
the
Larry's
proper
been
way
there
to do it.
forever.
Right.
You know, business owner,
he's a
taxpayer.
good guy.
He's
the first one to
a
say
good
that.
guy.
He respects the community.
Yeah, he will.
He'll-
I don't think it'll be an issue.
No, I don't think so either. But, you know, Rini was here last month with the same issues, she was taking care of.
All right, I'm on it. I'll talk to him.
I don't want to have to be the one that calls for other people. I just want our police to be up there on
Right.
Friday nights, 11 o'clock. That'll help all of us who are living
All
there.
right, yep.
Are you still having problems with the other bar on 8th Avenue?
With the noise?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen reports, but the reports that I've read most recently, when the officers got there, the noise, they heard no noise.
That's what they do all the time.
Yeah.
Here, police scan right here, coming.
Yeah, right. And I'm sure they have.
Took lawn noise off.
Put that police scan on. All
I
right,
think one time in the last probably 2 months that I remember a report that they actually had the door open. And our guys told them, no, you can't have it open, they shut it.
all right.
One other thing I would like to ask, and I know Chief Fuller's on vacation, so I don't want you to bother him. You know how I feel about this, vacation, don't bother me, my phone's in the safe. Anyhow, I know Dave, we've asked Dave about that second floor being open. It worries me because that door is open a whole lot, and Chief Fuller is the one supposed to.
Randy, it was
be
locked
going
today.
down.
I'm just gonna tell you, first time I came down, it's locked at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it was
It's
locked when I came
I
in
used
today.
my, I used my swab.
I had to use
It's
mine to
taking-
come in up there too.
I talked to Dave,
And it should have been open for me.
Thank God.
David, you don't have control of that?
No.
No, I've got to get it from Tom. I haven't got it.
it's locked though, that's good.
Yeah, we'll get you, because the last borough manager had
Yeah,
control.
yeah, yeah, no.
Yeah, we need
So
to
if
get
you
out.
could just
Yeah.
communicate.
I came in at 5:30, it was locked.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
noticing
that was
it's locks
Thanks, Tim.
later, like, but it's after people are.
It's
here.
locked, I believe it's locked with the front now too.
And Randy had a good point. If it's unlocked up there most of the evening and there's nothing going on and nobody's up there,
Yeah,
we don't know who's up there.
We were leaving here at 9 o'clock at night, it was open.
Yeah.
no, we'll make sure.
These things-
Next week, and then the chief's back, I'll go
Yep.
down there, and so I
I
can.
guess I heard it talking.
Well, something's been done with it because it was locked.
Huh?
You can get it, right?
Yeah,
Sounds like someone's up there now.
no.
Sure does.
Yeah, it does.
I'm going up there to go home, so I'll figure it out. Any more old business?
Matt, next week before bids for the Little Rock,
Monday, yeah.
Monday, we'll be able to vote on that next week.
All right, good.
Marty, do we want to put a bid out for speed bumps since the county's gonna be taking too long?
Well, I thought you talked to Scott about doing it ourselves?
Yeah, I talked to him, I don't know what he said, Bob, he never got back, he said we could probably do it, but he had to check with Bob.
Just update us on the speed humps. Go ahead. County,
The
they're gonna help
county,
us, but they're gonna wait for grants.
yeah, the county's gonna help us for speed humps down there, they wanna do a grant, but the way that we've having accidents down there, it's getting bad.
Dave showed me a picture of a car going for a pole last weekend.
Yes, didn't
Whoa.
even flinch, he just ate the pole, head on. So,
Like he wanted to do it.
yeah, it looked like it, yeah. He said that he dropped his phone and didn't see it. I don't know. But the county said that they wanted help him, they were trying to get a grant to get it, but the grant won't come back until late summer, early fall.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna end up not getting speed humps at all this year. And I think it's gonna help, and like, I had the chief, Fuller working on Green Springs up there by the, ball fields, and we were taking data from there too to see if it warrants speed humps up there at a later date.
Because we had that calming study last year that justified the speed humps.
And we gotta get them
God
on.
forbid, if we have something happen down there and we didn't act on, it's gonna be bad.
But if we put a bid out, it looks like we're at least
Okay,
looking into it. So if we put the bid out,
okay,
then, we can have our guys look at it, but then we can also see if somebody.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Agenda for next week?
Yeah, next week, yeah.
I know there's places on Ravine Street, if any place that could use those, people can walk off their front porch, take 4 steps, and then they're in the middle of their street. I mean, it's crazy.
I got 2 steps on one sidewalk.
If they hit you, they'd be in trouble.
I've been hit down there on purpose.
So I heard about it.
A lot of damage to the car.
Well, could you imagine that car?
I can see why.
Munhall Police Department blood drive, July 19th, 11 a.m. to 4:30. Any more details, please?
Yeah, that's here in this building. There's a flyer over there, there's flyers in your packets. I put it on the website, so, yeah. I'll put it on Savvy Citizen as well, and get it out to the public. Also, there's the Main Street Market Nights, I'll be getting this on the website, starting this month, June 27th. There's flyers over there for that too.
Well, Dave, do we have Taylor working on Savvy Citizens?
I'll be training her on it,
Okay.
so, yeah.
I'm just trying to see if we can't get something off your plate so you can get more stuff done that needs to be done.
No, I hope to do it next week, and then get her on the website and site assessment.
All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, meeting adjourned.